Wait a minute, that might be me.
Hi, greetings. This is the joint meeting of the Northfield Finance Committee and Board of the Select Board here tonight. We go over the warrant and officially, I guess, present it to the Select Board. I'll start off with Gail Weiss. Gail Weiss here with the FinCom.
Bernie Parada, present.
Dan Campbell.
Morgan O'Brien, present.
Lindsay McCarthy.
Robin Vandermatt, present.
And Bea, if you want to call your
Yep, we're
board.
gonna call the select board to order on Monday, April 6th at 6:03.
Oh, actually, I should have said.
That's okay.
Okay,
Just looking at
thank
the
you
clock
for
ticking
that.
over as you were talking.
Okay, so,
And I have David McCarthy and Bernie Goodrow.
And
okay.
Dan Campbell.
Yes, and Dan Campbell. Sorry, I forgot because you're
That's
sitting
all right,
right
have to be
there.
on.
Okay, so we're presenting, what is, it? We're presenting the
The warrant.
FinCom to
Yeah,
the Select
Our
Board.
recommendations to
Oh,
the
Okay.
select board.
So just go article
We
by,
can go article by article.
okay. And if, are we voting anything tonight or just?
The only thing will be the school budget.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
already
Recommended
voted what our
Okay.
response was.
Yeah.
Okay, so Article 1, to waive the reading of the warrant. If anybody wants me to read it in full, I'm more than happy to. Any issues on Article 1?
No.
Now, Article 2, consent vote. Do you want me to explain it, Andrea, or do you want to explain the consent vote? Okay, I'll try. If I'm messing it up, let me know.
Do all of them at once.
Huh?
Do them all at once.
Right, a consent vote allows you to do several articles all at once and get them voted as a slate of articles. Anybody on the town meeting floor or anybody sitting in the FinCom or Select Board can opt to pull any of those articles out to discuss further. If not, it is voted as a group. Did I do okay with that?
That's Article 2, Article 5, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's 2 through 5. So, Article 2,
It's actually 3, 4, 5.
yeah, Article 2 stating to do 3, 4, and 5,
And 20.
and 20?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and 20.
So
Okay.
the whole point is to group together
Okay.
repetitious articles that come up every
Right,
year.
right. And
Yeah.
ones that normally are usually passed from year to year.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Article 3 is to hear the town reports and such. Article 4 is the one that allows the Select Board to apply for state and federal grants and allows them to spend it without any town meeting authorization. That's in that standard article. And Article 5 is the,
Well, it says, just clarification on Article 4, it says expend any monies received as set forth in the appropriate grant application, so it's not like we're,
No, these are boilerplate
Yeah.
Yeah,
things that you have
boilerplate,
to
yeah.
kind of do.
I was just listening to how it might sound at home.
okay, yeah, no, it's a
We're not just gonna
boilerplate.
spend it anyway, we see.
It just
Yeah.
allows us to apply and spend those grants without further authorization from town meeting. Okay, and then Article 5 is the revolving accounts. We've already approved these revolving accounts. All we do every year is set a spending limit of what they can expend for the year. And there are options if, like for instance, the rec committee does something and it's gonna spend way above, they can get authorization from the Select Board and FinCom to raise that limit during the year, so they don't have to wait for town meeting to spend more than what they raised. The money has to be there, but sometimes you get a fundraiser and the expenses get to be more than what was voted at the revolving account at town meeting.
Yep.
Okay, we all set on that?
Okay.
Article 6 is the omnibus
Not yet.
budget.
No.
Article 20 is also.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Article 20.
Article 20 is the money we vote and raise for the OPEB trust fund. And how much was that?
100K.
100K? And was that We haven't, is that raised and appropriate? or-
Yes.
Okay,
And we do that every year.
okay, yeah,
That's why it's going under.
okay.
Yeah.
I just don't remember, because another town puts it in, two of my towns put it in their budget.
And OPEB, just, I know it's an acronym, that has to do with other post-employment benefits, so it's
That-
retiree benefits.
Right,
Yeah.
that's correct, health insurance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before we go further, Madam Chair, can we introduce the people that are also here in the audience?
Oh, hello, may I have your names, please?
I'm Sarah Burstein, Northfield resident.
Okay.
And also the principal of Bernardston Elementary.
Hi, Sarah.
Shane Close, resident.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, now, we're all set with those articles in the consent?
Yeah.
Okay, next is the omnibus budget. Again, we had hearings, everybody came and with their budgets and such. And I believe there's a memo on the increases, and bulk of the increases are insurance,
Health insurance.
health insurance. And that's over, I believe it's 277,000 that the budget is, what is it? 277,000 is obligations that are fixed. 139,000 or 50% of that is the insurance, including retirement costs. The retirement is an assessment that we pay to Franklin Regional Retirement every year. And then the rest of that other half are the COLA and steps and assessments to the Veterans District, Solid Waste District, Animal Control, FERCog Regional Nursing, and vendor assessments for the tax collector and assessor, and that's primarily their software programs.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna make one point because it came up last week too, is that many of these assessments also include health insurance increases. I think Jane from Bernardston made that point last week, that we see health insurance increases not just for the town, but
Right.
for any other organization that we're receiving services from.
And they're passed along on our assessments, I
Correct.
would
Yeah, so
assume.
to be clear, we're looking at a 6.7% increase in the omnibus over last year. But 80% of that increase is due to things that are beyond our control, like we were just saying, insurances, salaries, just normal things that just automatically have gone up every year. So the remainder is basically what each department has asked for in their budgets. And that figure is amounts to about $66,000 in their budget, other than what they could not increase.
Right, but I'm looking at those examples, and they're things like telephone, electricity, computer, technology increases, expected expenses for federal elections in the fall, town hall repairs, police training and community policing, fire department purchases, highway repairs and maintenance, parts and supplies, transfer station, for example, pest control and compactor repairs, the Council on Aging Memory Cafe and additional assistant hours, we can talk more about that if
Okay.
need be, library repair and maintenance, so I'm not seeing anything
Yeah, that's the $66,000.
discretionary in the,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it might be discretionary with air quotes, right? Some of these aren't, I don't know, they don't look like fun things to me that somebody
No.
stuck in a budget, yeah.
And I know the vehicle repairs are through the roof. Anybody that does them personally with their own cars know they're through the roof. So you can
Yeah.
imagine what the highway trucks are. So did you want to talk a little bit more about Council on Aging and their additional?
Yeah, I think that makes sense because that's the one thing that jumps out in terms of something that's new. Although again, I don't think it's like a fun expense. It's something that the Council on Aging and the Senior Center were definitely advocating for, and that has to do with meal preparation in the Senior Center. There's a lot of activity around meal preparation, and the thinking was to get a part-time person for approximately $20K, so no benefits, just part-time to help out with meal prep. then that frees up the director to do, because the director has social work, has other
I know she does.
duties that are really important to, like, the kinds of questions that people have about their benefits and home care and things like that. So, I just wanted to point, I think that's the biggest
Right.
part of that 67,000 or so. I think that was what, 20?
It was 19,000 and change.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a big chunk out of that.
Yeah.
22,000.
22?
Okay.
I thought it was 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also have an aging population. A third of our population are classified as seniors now.
Yeah, that's
People
the,
out of meals, which,
Yeah.
yeah.
well, just so people know that the Council on Aging came in force to meet with us concerning, because they said not only the increase in the senior population, but also the increase in age, average age of the senior population. So the demands for services for seniors in this community are increasing, not going downwards, they're increasing. And they're taking on more duties to try to assist seniors in this community. So that was the reasoning that the Finance Committee agreed to recommend that increase in the budget for the senior services.
Okay, is anybody, any other questions in regards to increases or any questions on the budget itself, the omnibus?
No, just a question for you guys, did anything else jump out at you in terms of, it was mostly COLA and the health insurance across the board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody came in trying to maintain their budgets. No, there was no really major ask unless any of you remember any major ask. And a lot of it's just costs keep increasing. And it's not gonna get any better. Okay.
And did we mention that the COLA was 2.8%?
We didn't, but it is 2.8%,
I just want to speak that,
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
case
it is.
folks are watching from home.
which is less than the national average.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we're all set with the omnibus?
I think so. Yep.
On to Article 7. What were we doing? Were we waiting?
We were gonna, yes, we were waiting after the discussion that went on
Okay.
Wednesday to decide what we were going to do with PVR budget and/or, I think the tech school we had
Yeah.
decided, but we can revisit that. But the PVR budget, I know that we did recommend that the tech school, we had great information. It's really based on the amount of students that are going there. Currently, I guess this year coming up, we're gonna have 58 students, and it was somewhere in the vicinity of, what was the, 19
I thought it was more than 19.
19 point something thousand
The cost per student.
cost per student, which is reflected in our assessment.
Okay.
So this article has a few parts to it.
Right.
Do you want to start at the top and work your way down?
We can,
Okay. So Northfield Elementary School, it's maintenance that we do every year. Was usually fixing a floor, carpet.
No, that's a separate article.
That's a separate
Oh,
article.
okay.
These are just normal,
Oh, that's just 25,000.
that's
in case-
routine maintenance.
Routine maintenance.
yeah.
That helps them out when a boiler breaks or
Well,
something.
something that comes up that's not
Not-
super expensive, but they
Yeah,
have
that
funds
they
to be able
need
to
to
take care
fix,
of it.
that they need to take care of. And then what next is the school committee stipends. And they got, it looks like they got a COLA. And,
So, to be clear, we have recommended the Northfield Elementary School maintenance and the school committee stipend so far.
Yeah.
do you want me to go over, skip over?
Sure.
Okay, Franklin County Tech, that's just the assessment based on per student, and you said 58, so what, we recommended that one?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and then the capital assessment,
And this, just one question
Yeah.
on Franklin County
Tech.
Tech. So the number of students year over year has gone
Been
up.
going
It's gone up.
And
was-
it's been going up, I know.
It has been
yeah.
steadily
It was
going up,
50
yep.
last year, and it's 58 this year, so it's
Yep.
been increased at 8, and that goes from grades 9 through 12.
That's what they're projecting.
Yeah.
However, if it changes some way, shape, or form,
Our assessment will be
would our
lower.
assessment go down if this, it would go
Okay.
down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But the capital is what assessed among the 19 towns in the Franklin County tax district, is that my
Yeah,
understanding?
this goes back to some of the repairs they had done years ago.
Right.
And this is the amount that we paid for their capital
Right.
project. And it looks like it's coming to fruition in the next few years.
Okay.
So that will go away, but there's other things on the horizon, unfortunately.
Okay, and we approved that, so
Getting back,
to the PVRS assessment.
I wasn't at the meeting the
Yeah, I
other day,
couldn't
as far as
either.
doing that.
Yeah.
But I understand that there are sister towns that are having a real difficult time with their budget coming through them. We aren't seeing we're seeing a decrease in the population of the school, but we keep seeing increase in the cost of doing business. And it's kind of hard to understand what is transpiring there. I believe that any way, shape, or form, the teachers are the backbone of any educational institution. I feel that the way things are being spent are not being spent in the right areas. And when you're looking at a tech school that is per student less than, and has more student population, because of the 19 different towns, but then we're seeing a population of Pioneer, which is far less than that, whose budget keeps going up more than I think it should. So that's my opinion, and I know you were at the other meeting. I don't know what the other towns were saying. I know that it's getting to be a very hard thing to look at, considering that 50% of our tax dollars go towards the school. And it's hard to justify that over the years. And I know that what happens is that the taxpayers of the town look at the finance committee and kind of point fingers and say, why do my taxes go up? Well, 50% of the budget we don't have any control over, which is a tough thing to do. What we do have control over, we make sure that we are, the departments are spending their money wisely, and they come in and justify it to us. So it makes it easier for us to accept or deny their thoughts on their budget. So
I will add that through the course of really deep diving into the budget for Franklin Tech, for us, and for PVRS, we're maintaining 3 buildings: the Bernardston Elementary School, the Northfield Elementary School, and the actual PVRS building. And those come at almost $2 million for each building, period. So that's not helping at all. And that includes your teachers and your maintenance and the cost of keeping the buildings functional and operating. But they're not operating at capacity. PVRS is losing students. I don't know, when this school was here, I don't know that we were told anything they're trying to attract students or what programs they're trying to bring in. Whereas like Franklin Tech was like, here's the things we've got going on, here's what the draw is, and here's why our enrollment's going to continue going up. Over time, the enrollment trend is going to go down because that's just the nature of where we are and what's happening, with people having fewer kids. But they're doing their best to try to attract student enrollment, whereas PVRS, if they're doing it, they're not promoting it well. Because I don't know how they're going to get students to help ease our assessments, I guess.
Well, and one thing about attracting school of choice, they come in at a much lower rate than the $25,000 a year that it costs to educate a student. So actually, we lose money with that strategy.
Yep.
And that $5,000 that we get per student is archaic. That was set when school choice was set in the 1990s and has not been revisited. And that's an issue for the state.
So that's actually makes
revisit.
it worse
Yeah,
budgetarily, bringing in
budgetarily.
other students.
Yeah, because now we're spending about $20,000 on these school choice students.
And the other, well, to go back to the meeting the other night, the sister towns are really concerned because their assessments are going to throw them likely into an override. And that's really distressing to them. They're talking about, well, in order to maybe alleviate some of that, they're going to have to cut services. They're already as bare bones as they can be. They made it very clear. And then if they're trying to balance the request, I think Bernardston is up 14% from PVRS from last year, which is a big bite. And if they're trying to balance that and accommodate it, they're going to have to cut services or do an override. And one thing that was really evident is that they're also a senior population, as are we. And several of them, as are we, are on fixed incomes. And when you get an override like that or a bump like that, I think we're not considering that puts an extra hard burden on the seniors on a fixed income.
Oh, yeah.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Bernardston and Leiden aren't the only ones in this boat. I believe Sunderland's going to be going for an $800,000 override. Hadley, I think, is going for a second override. Their first override failed, and they had to get rid of much of the fire EMS services.
Deerfield's looking at an
Is
override,
Deerfield
too.
looking for an
They're looking
override?
for an
Yeah.
override also.
So we're not those two towns are not the only
So
ones
what
in this
came out
boat.
of the discussion was very clearly that the towns are saying, basically, with student population going down, I've got it written here that it's dropped 32% in the last 5 years. That's not changing. And the prices have gone up an average of 6%. That's not changing. So what they're calling for is we can't keep doing the same thing. We have to come up with another solution somehow that works for everyone and that we could sit down and work it out with the school committee or Patricia or whoever it is, because doing the same thing every year is not sustainable. It just isn't. So that was a very clear message all the way around the table that we can't keep doing it this way. It has to be different. It has to be somehow consolidated, somehow, like Dan said, it's not the teachers that are at risk. It's administration that needs to combine. It's, a bunch of other ways, I think, that if we're creative, we can make it work.
Yeah.
And again, to be fair, they're operating with a less income stream coming in.
Yes.
Their state aid is lower this year compared to last year. They've actually taken some big hits on their funding. So
Yes.
and of course, the insurance hikes for them. So that's out of their control. But what's in their control is stuff that they really should be addressing.
But they're also, their aid from the state has declined because of declining enrollment.
Yep.
That was the reason for that. The thing that a lot of people have to understand is, like you said, the student population has declined substantially in our district, in the PVRS district. The other issue here is our population is going to decline also. According to the study done by the Donahue Institute at UMass Amherst, our population is currently 2875, I believe, and they're looking that our population will drop to about 2,000 people by 2040. There just isn't going to be the numbers for the students coming in. It just is not going to happen. The other thing too is an example, our senior class, which is graduating, I believe, will be 16 students. That's all there is in the senior class currently at the high school. 7 of them are from Northfield, 1 from Bernardston, none from Leiden, and the rest are school choice. That says a message right there. Look how small that class is, and it's not going to get any better. And the other thing too is, you look at the tuition that students that they get tuition students from Vernon, but we don't set the compensation for those students' rates. That's set by the state of Vermont. So we don't really have a say in that matter. And then we have other tuition agreements with, I believe, Warwick, but even then, those tuition agreements, I don't believe, cover the entire cost of educating a student in our district. So there's going to be, this is just, we're going to have to deal with this now, because if you look further down the road, could be some serious and difficult choices for our district down the road. With a declining population, we may have to face in the future closing an elementary school, potentially, or using the campus as a centralized school, or changing the student body in the long run, go through a K through 8, or tuitioning our high school students. Those are things that we're probably going to have to face, not this year, but down the road, and they're going to be hard, difficult choices. And the Finance Committee really thinks we need to deal with this now. We have to make some changes now if we're going to keep this district from functioning. And the other thing is that when people talk about regionalization is happening in many areas of our town and our neighbors. We regionalize ambulance service, a lot of fire services. When there's a major fire, all the communities band together to try to help because they don't have enough personnel or equipment to deal with it for a major fire. Police work together in our area to back each other up. Those things are already happening, and I think that's going to be another thing for the town to face in the future is regionalization of services. But the thing that we see, though, the impetus now is we need to do some reforms and changes to the district to keep it vital, to have it survive and be an asset to our communities. So I hope people understand that this is not just trying to pick on them, it's to see we have a problem, we see the finances, and we must do something about it.
Yeah, say something?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed in the 3-town meeting the other day. It's an open meeting, and we gave the school committee and the superintendent the chance to speak, and they declined.
They didn't respond.
They just did not want to talk about it. And I just left
think
there with a bad taste in my mouth because, say something.
Yeah.
They're at an open meeting, it's, the agenda was listed on the meeting, so it's open for discussion. That's open meeting law. They just didn't want to talk about it. I thought the silence spoke a lot to me. I'm not supportive of, somebody, if you have something to say it, good or bad, speak up. And I was disappointed they didn't elect to speak at that meeting.
So that brings us to whether we recommend or not recommend.
I, Bernie Parada, make a motion that the Finance Committee not recommend the school's fiscal year 27 budget.
Robin Venemat seconds.
I think that this is, like, I can hear the collective breath being held, my own included, and I do feel that this is important and that this is the right decision to be made. And I know that there's also question and concern from those within the world of school districts around what it means to have this budget not pass. It's my understanding that the district would have the opportunity to continue to present budgets between town meeting and July 1st. it does seem as though there's a disconnect in that understanding between the municipalities and the school districts, that I hope can be resolved and come to an agreement, or come to an understanding where we're not stymieing the needs, educational needs of the kids. It is understanding and coming to a consensus of what 50% of our town budget is, and making sure that our sister towns are also in a stronger financial position, so that we do not find ourselves in a similar state.
Again, what this does, as far as doing that, I mean, if we pass this and we do not recommend, that then puts the burden, rightfully so, on the taxpayers of the town of Northfield. And they would have to make that decision themselves. We have spent an awful lot of time going over the books, going over everything that we could possibly do to try to reduce the cost to the, just to reduce the taxes in the town of Northfield. And it's tough. We've had to tell our departments sometimes that they can't have this piece of equipment or that because it's going to increase the budget. And it's tough to see a budget come every year increasing. So again, we don't make this decision lightly at all.
Did you have something you wanted to?
Yeah, I'm just, I think it's helpful to make a few notes here, and one question I have for you, this is more procedural, is Article 7 has several components to it, right? So you all are talking about the concern with the PVRS assessment,
Yep.
right? And I'm just going to point out that the assessment this year is 4.9 million. It's an increase of a little over 212,000 from last year, right? So that's not their total budget. That's their assessment
Right.
to
Yes.
us,
Yeah.
right? So I just want to make sure that's
Yes.
clear.
Yeah, that is clear.
And in looking at their budget book, which was super helpful, the three towns make up approximately 62% of their revenues, right? Where school choice is a much smaller slice of that pie. So rather than getting into what they're doing with their budget, because to be fair, that's up to the school committee, right? So the superintendent presents it, we've sat in on a variety of those meetings and expressed our concerns. They have a budget hearing, but it's up to the school committee. So if the school committee doesn't make any changes to those recommendations, despite what's fairly consistent feedback from the towns each year, that's up to them, right? So I just want to make it clear from the town, from my own side, but also from the town aspect. If there's only 3 towns and 2 of them are really debating whether or not to exceed to do an override on their budgets, that's a serious financial tipping point, regardless of what's being done with any one budget. And so you need to look for the big chunks in what we're presenting to the town. And so a big chunk obviously is education. As you've mentioned, it's over 50% of our budget for all of these aspects of it. The problem with being 3 towns in a district is we're paying those, plus we're also paying retirement, capital on buildings, so we have some other articles here. Those are all reasonable requests, but if you only have 3 towns sharing that burden this year and last year, by the way, the burden fell mostly on Leiden, which has the fewest students of all, and it fell on Bernardston. So Bernardston was saying at last week's meeting that they're dealing with an $800,000 increase over 2 years, which is a lot. Bernardston's much smaller than us, and then Leiden's even smaller than the 2 of us. So I think it's helpful to point out the dollar constraints here and acknowledge that this is a tipping point, because if half of your budget is going to education and the costs are going up in all areas, but the number of Northfield students, not saying the number of overall students, I think the superintendent's been very clear on her recruitment ideas. The problem is they don't bring in the money to add to that 62% that the three towns face. So I think that's where we need to be a little bit clearer on some of the dollar figures so that people understand it's a choice. So what I did this weekend is I looked at our overall budget, and given some of these increases, and we haven't gone into additional ones, we're, and this is always a tricky thing to explain, but the tax rate, the initial tax rate based on the budget is $1.46 higher than it was last year. And granted, that changes over the course of the year, but when you calculate that out, and I think that's what other people have been doing, so Jane had mentioned that in Bernardston, that's where people get hit, because the valuations on their homes have been going up. But if we continue to increase the tax rate, that's adding to the tax burden. So if I pulled out my tax bill and I did the 146, that's an additional $623 for me going into this new fiscal year. And my home is slightly above average. And I'm not looking forward to paying an extra $600 a year, right? And one of the goals that we put for the select board was that we wanted to minimize the impact on tax rate as much as possible. Because of these continued valuations, and then the other thing that I mentioned last week was there's a concern going into this with the economy the way it is and the fuel prices, et cetera, and the global effects. The concern is that these expenses, even though we've conservatively estimated expenses in the budget, that they're going to be hard pressed, like for highway, with salt and with fuel, for example. They're going to be hard pressed on those line items. So rather than kind of critiquing the school, I would just like to point it out that it's an equation, right? It's a math equation. And if we go with the warrant as is, then that's an extra $1.46 on the tax rate that I personally am not happy with.
Yep.
And also I'm not happy from a select board standpoint because the goal was to minimize the tax rate. Granted, it's still in comparison to many other communities in Massachusetts, but that, if you're paying your bill and you're my age or older, that money is coming out of retirement funds that aren't going up also because of the right? And the healthcare things are going up for everyone too. So what I would be looking at is are there any changes that can be made that kind of put a stopper on that tax rate? And that's where I think the concern is coming from with the school assessment, right? Because it's putting us in that difficult position of we're going to have a slightly higher tax rate that nobody's going to be happy with.
And the other problem we also have, there's no growth here.
That's why we're not paying as much as the other towns.
Right.
We don't have the growth, oddly enough.
Well, we have no property growth.
Oddly enough,
Business
Northfield's
growth.
in a good position because we don't have growth and the number of students have been decreasing. So we're only paying a little over $212,000 extra this year for PVRS, which sounds a little bizarre that, ours is going up. But then Bernardston's like 500,000,
Yeah.
300,000 last year. You can't just manufacture 500,000 when you're close to, I don't think any community resident would be happy with an override to pay more taxes, right? Nobody's going to be happy with that. Luckily, Northfield doesn't have to do that. But you're right, we have to look at the collaboration with the other. So I just want to make sure we're pointing out some of those facts because then we kind of get into the, what's PVRS doing or not doing. It's like, what is the school committee signing up for? And then the way our processes work in parallel, the frustration that everybody feels at this point, speaking of collective breath, is they when they do their budget hearing, then they're basically done and they're presenting the budget. And it doesn't matter and we're finishing our budget, so then we're like sitting there going, okay, now this big amount is sitting in that budget, right? And then we can't go back because we provided all of our input earlier in the process. So I'm saying it's also a tipping point. I think you guys are all saying this as well, but I'm trying to collectively say it in a way that makes it a little bit more explainable perhaps, is that the process isn't working either. Because we are having the input and the exchange of opinions and all of that, but it's not actually resulting in the change in dollars at this point in the year, because the schools are done with their process, they've given us their amounts, and we're like, go deal with it, right? So, and they're not saying that meanly or anything, that's just the fact of the way the processes work. So, those are all and somehow I need to get that down into a shorter soundbite, but those are the points that I want to be able to get across to especially Northfield residents, but I think this is true even more so for Leiden and Bernardston.
The problem is, as far as doing that, if you expressed that we need to get involved probably earlier, but when we're given their budget, like you said, we don't have, the only recourse we have at this point in time as a finance committee members, as far as doing that, would be to either approve or not approve their budget. I mean, when we come to
Recommend, you're not
yeah,
approving.
not
Yeah,
recommend.
so
I mean,
school
recommend.
committees
Recommend. We don't recommend.
Town meeting decides.
Yeah, town meeting decides we would
It's up to
recommend.
the
So
voters.
the only recourse we have is to recommend or not recommend at this point in time. So we feel strongly that something has to be done. And like I said, it's gonna boil down to town meeting floor, expressing what you just expressed, why we have taken, if indeed that the select board presents the budget or doesn't, to express why. We will be able to express why if we decide now that we are not going to recommend or not.
Well, that's my other question. We do recommendations based on articles, do we not?
That was my question. Are we
So,
not recommending the whole article?
Does it,
Or can we pull that
Andrea,
out?
can we pull out a part of this?
I can write it any way you want it.
Okay,
That's not, I mean, there's nothing legal about it. If you
No.
want to
Okay,
recommend.
so could we have
all
two
the
separate
rest-
motions, or?
Two separate.
Well, it's just a recommendation. I would say the
Okay.
finance committee voted to recommend X,
Okay.
Y, Z, not to recommend A, B, whatever.
okay,
I mean,
But
all right.
it's just your vote.
Okay.
I just record it.
But is
So-
the vote for the total article, though? Does it have to be for the total article? Can they
Well, the
vote?
vote at town meeting does, unless
Well,
someone
that's what I'm
makes a
saying.
motion. That's a different thing.
Right.
I'm just doing your
Yeah.
recommendation. Someone would have to move that on town meeting floor.
Okay.
So I'll
Because
ask it
other-
this way.
thank
I
you.
guess the consternation comes up, we're looking at a $6 million article. The
Correct,
conversation revolves around PVRS assessment of 5 million.
yes.
So I'm getting the sense that we want to split that line out.
If we're possible.
And I'm not speaking for the group, that's just the way I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So can that be done?
You're saying write a separate article?
Yeah.
For just,
Can that one
PVRS.
line be split
Okay,
out? of
motion
the
to
article?
made
No, you
on,
can do that as a motion on town meeting
Floor,
floor. I motion
okay.
to approve, Article 6 with the exception of blank, 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 or I move to approve these sections of Article 6 without, I mean, I would write the motion for you.
Oh, you can do it in two separate motions, that's what you're saying.
Or however, but I mean, you
Yeah.
can make
You
that
can't
motion.
change the warrant. at this
Otherwise,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I could, but,
No,
I
No, we
would make them
closed
two
it.
separate
But if
articles.
that accomplishes the same thing.
Yeah,
That's really up to, well, how you recommend is up to you, how the warrant is written is up to the select board.
okay.
Select board ultimately decides the warrant. for it.
But our recommendations, because we're approving it right now, we've
I
got
can
the
write that
others.
any way you want.
Okay,
And then I would say this as well, to be the last person to speak, I guess, about this particular article, certainly this line, is in the meeting last week with the 3 towns. There was a lot of hand-wringing clearly amongst the towns about trying to do the right thing, but the assessment keeps coming through with limited dialogue. Certainly it seems to be, the impression is limited flexibility from the school district on how they approach the towns with their dollar value. And I think what took place, or is taking place now, is Bernardston is clearly looking at an override. Jane made that very clear. I don't know how that's gonna go over, but I would think it won't be well received, but I don't know. And Leiden certainly, I think they started off by saying, we never like approving this line item. Because they're, you know, they always describe themselves as, you know, the caboose, or, you know, we're the town with no students. And it was, I was surprised that those 2 towns only have 1 student graduating. And we make up 6 more.
Something more.
And the rest of them are students from elsewhere. And so the conversation I was trying to project at the beginning or at the end of the meeting was, I'm not knocking the teachers, because and the administrative group, they're trying to do the best they can with
The structure?
what they've got. And it's a structural thing. But my point was, this is big business. And they're coming to the towns and they're saying, we want 5 million from Northfield, and we want 3 million from Bernardston, and we want 1 million from Leiden. And to your point, Morgan, it just seems like there's a rub, there's a we don't like each other because we're saying no. It's a financial rub, and something is going to give. Bernardston apparently is on the wire, and something's going to snap. They're going to have an override, or they're not, and they're going to have to cut services from who knows where. And the parabolic curve of our population will probably stay somewhat the same. Kids come and kids go, but it will never be kid central the way it used to be 20, 30, 40 years ago. That's just not happening in this country. So we're stuck with something's kind of come down the road, and Northfield will probably have to look at an override sooner or later if costs keep coming up.
Yep.
And our students, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but Northfield kids make up a very small percentage of the budget. And you know, what are we doing? We need to do something fundamentally different, and we're asking the district to do that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the district do anything dynamic. And all I saw last year was they wanted to float a $100 million new building,
Yep.
or whatever the price tag was.
Without our consultation.
Feasibility.
It's just, it just strikes me, and I'm just one person, as it's just tone deaf.
Yeah.
It's fiscally tone deaf.
Yep.
So my point last week was, we can recommend everything we're gonna recommend. And our town meetings are gonna be filled by the voting population,
Yeah.
and they will rubber stamp what they think is
Yeah.
what they wanna do. And then whether their tax rate goes up and down, I don't think anybody cares. It's the bill that matters. We all know our homes are worth more. So the rate's gonna fluctuate. You can have the rate drop and your tax bill can still go up depending upon the evaluation of your house. So the rate, that's a moving target. The tax bill is going to hit everybody, and it's going to increase. And we're just, I think what we're trying to do is shoot the flare like, hey, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's not just brewing this year, it's been brewing for a while, and it's gonna get worse. So if you elect to say, I don't support the article, it's not because we don't care, and it's not because we're saying, you guys figured out. What we're asking for is another way out. We need dynamic conversation, we need different solutions. And I'm not saying I have them, but I certainly get the sense that people are like, we need something different.
Yep.
So
Okay. So
that's my
we're-
2 cents worth.
Are we all set? Any more comments? You already, did
I made a motion which Robin seconded.
okay, so we ready to vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you-
Okay. Are you
Can you
ready?
wind it back for those of us who forgot? You made a motion to
May not recommend.
not recommend.
Not
Thank you.
recommend.
Just
Okay.
this piece, though.
Okay,
Just the PVR system.
Just that
Just the
particular
PBR
line
assessment
item, right?
line item.
Yep.
That's it.
okay, I can start off the voting. I, Gail Weiss, vote not to recommend, mostly to send a message that something has to be done, that both the town and the school need to get together and figure this out and find a way to get costs down through consolidation or something.
I, Bernie Parada, vote not to recommend the budget.
I, Dan Campbell, vote to not recommend the budget.
I, Morgan O'Brien, vote not to recommend the budget.
Lindsay McCarthy votes not to recommend the budget.
Robin Vandermatt votes not to recommend the PVR's assessment budget.
Okay, so we're ready to move on to the projects.
Yep.
Article 8, right?
Did we vote on that one yet? Or?
No,
No.
yeah.
Okay.
we haven't.
Is there a motion to vote on the Northfield share of the capital projects for $83,023?
Here's the deal I'm thinking
Yeah.
on this. If we don't recommend this, this gives them $83,000 to put back into the budget to
Yeah.
help offset, if indeed they want to revisit their budget. I know it's a separate article, but
yeah.
it's probably stuff that they really need to do.
Right, I
So
hate
it's
putting
kind
off,
of,
yeah.
it's kind of like,
They're not accountable for spending it the way they've asked for it?
they get back to us on what, as far as these projects?
What the projects are for, yeah.
They
They
did
did,
get back to us, not with quote, but they did say they had documentation on.
But
on
if
the
they
cost.
get the money, do they not have to spend it on that?
They have to spend it on that.
Yeah, they have to spend it on that.
If,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I thought I misunderstood you.
No, if it passes, they have to use it on that. If for some reason they don't pass it, no, because it would not be used, it wouldn't be part of the budget at all.
Right.
Take it
So are
back,
you
yeah.
saying that if we're asking them to come back with a budget with a lower number in it,
I think it-
that this is a place that they might consider cutting first?
Not if we.
No,
not
this
if-
isn't a part of that budget.
Not if,
Capital.
no, it's a capital thing, so it's totally different, so
Separate.
forget
Yeah.
what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to give them some
These are
money.
like maintenance
Yeah.
and you don't wanna, cause it's
No,
gonna.
this is what they have to do because we're not pursuing a new building. So
Right.
we don't want things to be falling down at the schools. Just going to point out that the full total of these is 151,400. That's separate from what was just discussed. And the Northfield share is a little over 83,000, right? So, again, these are the types of things that if you're coming from a town that's doing school choice with PVRS, they're not paying for that. Warwick is no longer paying for that kind of stuff because they went their own way too.
Yeah, capital projects are exempt from them being assessed. Also, any OPEB benefits are also, they're not assessed for. So there's two things that the
You're
school
assessed
choice.
only of the three towns,
Yeah.
not of anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, Bernie Parada, make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend Article 8 for the capital improvement projects at the Pioneer Valley Regional School.
Second.
Any discussion? I still wanna know how much 50,000 is gonna be on a lot, given what oil costs have gone up and. can't
Well,
even-
I would assume they're gonna do part of it or
Right.
something, just to maintain
Little
the.
square?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well.
That's not our action, that's gonna be their
it's
decision to
their-
make.
Yeah, there
The
is.
way oil prices are going.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, but other than that, I mean, are we all set to vote on it?
Sure.
I'm all
Okay.
set to vote.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Bernie Parada votes yes.
Dan Campbell, yes.
Morgan O'Brien, yes.
Lindsay McCarthy, yes?
Robin Vandermatt, yes.
Gail Weiss, yes.
This one we already.
Okay, Article 9, that is the capital projects. Again, we usually have some maintenance, or projects where we replace, this is Article 9, where we replace some flooring and the gym floor gets redone.
Yeah,
or
Jim Borg is refinishing the
Very
company.
finishing, so those are standard projects that we typically do from year to year to maintain the elementary school. Any?
I think we already.
We already
Yeah,
recommended
okay,
it.
yep. So we good on that one?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Article 10 is the EMS. I know we already voted on this.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
did.
already
Yeah.
recommended
that.
But if you have any questions,
Yeah.
select board on EMS,
I have none.
No, I'm on the EMS advisory, so I know.
So you know what it's all
Okay.
I can
about?
actually answer questions if
Okay.
they're.
I'll ask the questions for those of us on TV.
Okay.
Wages and salaries, we understand. What are the expenses of $456,000 roughly?
456,000?
Yeah, 'cause
456,000.
million.
Oh,
Two.
sorry.
It's
Yeah.
split out.
That's,
Looking at the wrong page.
because they're the buildings that they've got to maintain.
The
and-
lease, the
lease.
trailer, fuel,
That's our operating, so it's all.
that's our
it's
operating
the
budget.
usual.
Repairs,
Yeah,
the things they need to. for-
supplies, materials.
Vehicle maintenance,
Yeah.
medical
Yeah.
supplies, yeah,
Their
here's the.
salaries on top, this is
Yeah.
all of their operating.
Thank you.
So that's their operating budget, okay.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's our operating budget, yes.
Yeah,
So to paraphrase, it's nothing pretty, it's just,
No, it's just normal
No.
stuff that you have to have. in
yeah,
order to
that
run
costs
your
a lot of
business.
money.
And they actually cut out some things that have been on previous years. Those are, like those stipend things are no longer there because they've adjusted the salaries appropriately and also they've cut out an assistant that would have been there for like a couple
And
of years.
these expenses come out of their enterprise fund.
I'm just asking because people
Just-
look at,
Just so you
because
know.
people look at wages
Yeah.
and salaries of
Yeah.
800,000, well, what are expenses? Aren't those wages and salaries? What, they'll ask, what is that? So,
All the other expenses not associated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we separate
it's a different
them-
line item, I get it,
Separate
but I'm
them
just
out
asking.
with the sewer enterprise fund too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll come up.
That will come up in the next.
Okay, well, Article 11, are we ready for Article 11? That's the EMS.
We want to go back a little bit,
Oh,
just to be clarified. The town levy, we have an assessment of $150,308. That would be the tax.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's our portion
So if-
to EMS.
Yeah, so
that's
if you're
the
recommending the
taxpayers,
budget, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
town that goes on the
Yeah.
tax rate
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
150,000.
But remember too, it's not just, again,
No, we
with this
share that.
ambulance service that we're the sole assessment. There's assessed also to Irving, assessment to Gill, and an assessment to Bernardston for the
Yeah.
ambulance service.
Yeah. And that assessment includes both operating and capital.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Ready to move on? Okay, to the EMS response vehicle. What we were looking to borrow would be, because is there a lead time with those?
Yes.
Usually a year or so.
A year or so.
At least
But
for
they
that
were
type of-
going to.
No, this is he's
the
calling it
vehicle?
the response vehicle. This is the one that, where the
Oh, yes.
paramedic and all the medications.
But
not
even,
the
Right.
ambulance.
even then, it's still a period of waiting period of
Right.
time for
It's
delivery.
not as long
No,
as like.
It's not as long as an
Yeah. So
ambulance,
it's
which
like
could be
maybe
2 or
Yeah.
3 years.
6 to 8 months.
No, okay.
basically.
Yeah, it's still a lead time, yeah.
But they didn't want to deplete their
The reserve fund.
Reserve
reserve
fund.
fund. So they're looking to borrow and then they can,
Potentially.
yeah, potentially borrow.
So when they make the order, so he
Yeah.
already has quotes, so I think we talked about this before, the vote would be to authorize the EMS to go ahead with it,
Right,
right?
Correct.
And once they do that, he goes back and he looks at his quotes, and then he reaches out to the vendors and makes sure the quotes are still up to date. And then he places an order.
yeah,
And then, but no money transpires until the vehicle's actually delivered. So what will happen is we'll have 1 or 2 EMS advisory committee meetings, so that's before towns getting together to advise the EMS chief. We'll have 1 or 2 meetings where we'll discuss the benefits of paying for it all at once, in one fell swoop, or doing some amount of borrowing.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know the recommendation, which was, we discussed, because I think I sat in on your meeting, I think you guys, the finance committee was interested in someone exploring some borrowing, so that, because this would be through the state notes, so the
Right.
rate would be lower and the state guarantees it. The advantage of doing that is it gives like a standard payment out over time.
Yeah,
And then we would also look at being able to pay that off in full and just, so
yeah,
there's a few options that
Right.
we're
There's a few
considering. And we
financial-
took the advice from finance back into the EMS
yeah.
advisory committee.
Yeah, because I know State House knows you only pay like $600-700. Well, I don't know what it is now, or something that low, it'd probably about $600-700. As for if you go out to borrow in the market, you're talking thousands of dollars. So the State House knows it's
Yeah.
very minimal to borrow. The rates are usually very competitive against like a bank or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And then the
Yeah.
thinking was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, I think I got the balance right, but here's another balance thing, is, the more that we have like a standard payment, so if you, for example, if you get a mortgage at home and you know your amount is going to be X amount per month, then you can budget around that.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that would allow the reserve funds to continue growing, and the reserve funds were what we were drawing from each year to reduce the assessment. So the more we grow the reserve funds, as opposed to throwing it all at a new vehicle, then that gives us a little bit more wiggle room in terms of being able to keep the assessments down to the 4 towns.
Okay, do we need anything else on the EMS response vehicle? Okay.
Oh, one
What?
other thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
This vehicle, sorry, does generate revenue because they use it to go to scenes where they might need a paramedic on scene, and that means that they can charge, for example, if they happen to be at the Miller's Falls Fire with that vehicle, then they can charge the town of Montague an intercept fee
Oh,
for
wonderful.
that use of the vehicle and the paramedic.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's the other bonus for that.
okay.
Okay.
So next, the sewer enterprise fund, yeah.
There's a typo,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, it's 602, right?
it's 602021.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not signing it tonight.
Okay.
I caught it in my final review again.
Okay, I
This
just wanted
is
to
just
mention
Ronnie
that.
testing you.
I think
She's,
it's
she's
601.
testing me, if I didn't catch that, I'm gonna catch it when I get
So what
home.
is it,
602021.
021.
021?
Yeah, we have it, I have it
It
in
says
email
601,
and that.
it's
We-
601.
Okay, someone had a finger error there.
Yeah,
Good catch.
Yeah,
Always ready to go.
and that can always be fixed on the floor.
oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
This isn't signed tonight, so.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those where it's just a clerical thing,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so, that's not a huge increase year over
No,
year.
No.
no.
Less
Uh,
than
We
149.
went real light, and I'm hoping the fuel costs and stuff
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
don't bite us, that we don't have to,
And sludge removal.
might have to, you know, at some point, have a special assessment or something.
yeah.
I hate, you know, we're gonna try to make do, and, you know.
It's a lean year.
Yeah, we tried to, we knew there was, you know, at some point, gonna have to bump it up, but we thought we'd give them a lean year. But we have had to bump the past few years
Oh,
to
yeah.
get everything stabilized.
Yeah,
Yeah, over 3 years.
And I'm hoping we'll be okay, but, you know, we're doing the best we can, and,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I know you guys are. I mean,
Yeah.
Karen wanted to come back to reduce her budget. We're like, you don't have to come
Yeah.
back to reduce your budget, just tell us what you're
You
doing.
wanna get on the microphone for that one.
I give her kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion or anything else you noticed with the sewer department budget? Okay, next was the sewer manhole replacement, I believe, we already voted on that one.
we voted
That
to
was
We
like-
did, yeah, these
That
are,
was what, 40,000
40,000.
for
Yeah.
manhole covers?
Yeah, we recommended that.
Okay, and then we, next Article 14, Highway Department truck lift gate.
these are the capital projects.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and we voted to recommend that one.
Yep.
Yeah, we thought it might be a safety issue and,
I think that's super important.
yeah,
That's just like the ambulances, where you need as much assistance in lifting stuff as possible, so you're not
yeah, you're not hurting your
throwing
back.
somebody's back
No.
out.
Yeah, yeah, and then you're getting a large workers' comp claim.
Correct.
Yeah, no, anything for safety. Article 15, Highway Department roadside mower.
We voted to recommend that.
Yep. Then Article 16, police cruiser radio and related equipment. We voted on that one, I believe. It's part of his replacement schedule.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Article 17, cameras at the transfer station, we voted to recommend.
Yep.
And I think what, they were doing it in partnership with Highway or
They're
something?
doing a partnership with the highway,
Yeah.
because they're gonna both do camera upgrades.
Then Article, anything further on Article 17? Okay. Article 18, heating and cooling improvements at the town hall.
It's basically this room here, air conditioning and heating.
It's replacing the mini splits,
Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah.
the lines.
Yeah. Was there another room with uneven?
Yeah, and then the other room.
The other room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The records room.
Records room.
Okay. And then Article 19, we recommended capital stabilization account. This is, I mean, we had several departments wanting their own stabilization accounts, and it's like, how do we fund these? For example, a fire stabilization, if you want a fire truck and it costs $1 million, where are we going to come up with $100,000 a year? You know, if they're only, or if they're just gonna put in $10,000 a year? How do we handle that? So the FinCom came to a consensus that should only be one capital stabilization account. We can prioritize how it's used and put money into it and do it that way, rather than have all, I know fire has their own now.
Yeah, they had it voted at
Yeah,
town
they had
meeting,
it
but it's
voted
not
at town.
funded
But it's not funded at this point in time.
at this point,
We
yeah.
just-
Can you guys talk a little bit more about, I noticed, 400,000 of that is on the tax,
Yep.
as raised by taxation, and then there's 100K covered by free cash. So is there any thinking about the total amount? Like, for example, coming down? And this is the only thing I'm looking at in terms of, most of everything that I looked at for the articles, much of it is covered by free cash. So there's no effect on the tax rate, but there, the big things are on the tax rate. And did you guys discuss the amount this year? Is the recommendation the total 500K, or did you discuss other amounts?
So, years past, we've been putting $500,000 into this account. Right now, there's around $100,000 in there. So what this can be drawn off would be for other capital projects. And if we maintain this same scenario that keeps the tax rate stable, and then if we were to borrow things instead of the $500,000 that we'd use in the stabilization, we might put $300,000 and use $200,000 to offset borrowing. So it's a way of actually saving money to be able to borrow and to be able to not have a big fluctuation in the tax rate jumping up and jumping down. If someone wanted, a very expensive item, as far as that would kick up the tax rate by $1 or $2 maybe, depending on how big it is. A fire truck is $1 million. I don't think that you're going to have the whole taxpayers foot the whole bill for that, but if you borrow over a period of time and use the money that you've been putting into the stabilization fund, not put much money in this year, but maintain a certain draw, so to speak, you would keep your tax rate somewhat stable, keeping it so it's not jumping up or bottoming out. Because if you didn't have any stabilization this year, as far as doing that, your tax rate would drop, but then you couldn't buy anything. It's actually a savings program, is what it does. And we've used it for the EMS building. We had enough money in there that we were able to maybe purchase a building. Now that has gone away. So we're still using some of that stabilization funds right now too.
Yeah, I just want to point out two things. One is there's the emergency services facility account.
Correct.
So there's money in there. The money that has been previously saved didn't go away. It got moved
That
into
came from capital
account
stabilization,
in
yes.
preparation for buying that
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
Right? But is your recommendation going forward that you're going to set aside 500K in cap stabilization every year?
I think it would depend on the year as far as doing that. If for some reason that we had a big borrow and you would not maybe put $500,000 in there, you may put $200,000 or $300,000 and use some of that to offset the cost of a piece of equipment.
So substitute it for debt service,
Correct.
in other words?
Correct.
Okay.
So that, again, that stabilizes your tax rate by doing it that way.
Okay, I think that's always a hard one to explain.
It is.
So you
It
might
is,
wanna,
yeah.
when you're looking at the slides for the info session, that's the one that you're spending money or you're saving money actually, right? Is
Yes.
basically what you're doing. You're saving money for a rainy day for big purchases. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if I was smart enough with my house, then I would have a rainy day fund for my roof, right? That needs to be replaced at some point, but, yeah, that's not happening
No,
right
no,
now,
not-
right?
not for
So,
anybody,
but the
right.
town luckily is doing something different than what I'm doing personally, right?
She'd save $500,000 this year.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But yes, it's a very important, we actually have two stabilization
It's called
funds.
Powerball.
So, and the capital stabilization fund would primarily be used for items and borrowing, or help offset borrowing, if the time comes that we're gonna borrow
Yeah,
for
big
something.
ticket items.
Big
Yeah.
ticket
Big
items,
ticket
yeah.
items, yeah.
Like trucks and
Yeah, things that free cash
buildings
doesn't cover.
and- Okay.
Okay.
Just for the good of those watching at home, and to your point, each of our departments has put together a fantastic 10-year capital plan outlining what these big costs are, and so we're able to backtrack that to say, we need to continue to put $500,000 into that stabilization
Okay.
account, because
So you guys are projecting out over the future, you're
Yeah.
looking
Yeah, yeah.
at potential, okay,
But we're looking at.
potential costs.
Yeah, you look at the highway department, if a dump truck today costs $300,000, or a fire truck at over $1 million, it's smart to build up a savings for the purchase of
Yeah,
these items, so it wouldn't be such a serious impact to the
I
tax
think
rate.
you guys are all doing, you know, the right thing. I think it's been how to explain it, right? Because it's so familiar to what you guys are doing, but yet I don't think people realize you've actually nailed, that's a really good point, that you've nailed all of the capital planning to the extent that you can look out and see the various large ticket items coming down. And you don't want them to all hit in the same year, right?
Well, the thing too is we look at financial stability of our community, because years ago, there was hardly anything. For the town had almost no savings whatsoever, several, years
I don't
ago.
even think we had this.
We had zero stabilization.
You had zero stabilization and basically no
If I remember
savings.
correctly, yeah.
So, anytime there was a big ticket item, you have to go onto the town meeting floor and, basically ask the taxpayers, there's a big bill, here we are, that's gonna have an impact on your tax rate. We believe that there was good common financial sense to build a savings, basically a savings account. And we've done other things like doing audits every single year on the town finances. We've looked to try to improve things, be more open to our residents, but also to improve the quality of the management of the town and its finances. That's what we've been looking for.
And one thing people don't realize, the stabilization fund, we can't touch it. We have to have 2/3 majority vote in order to use that money. So it's not something that can be, it's not a rainy day fund where the town can use it. No, it has to go through town meeting where 2/3 of the voting members there would allow that to happen. So it's not something that anybody has control over except the taxpayers of the town of Northfield.
Okay, any more on the capital stabilization? We're all good? Now, we agreed on 20, so 21 is the typical CPA article that's voted every year. Next, Article 22 is a CPA, a community project for honoring Northfield's veterans of the Revolutionary War by providing informational cemetery markers. And that's for 2,000, and we voted on all these already, I assume. And then Article 23 is 6,000, again for historical preservation purposes, to install a split heat pump for Dickinson's Library History Room, and that's to help preserve their documents and such. And then what is it? Oh yeah, Article 24,
That's no financial issue.
Yeah.
I don't believe we vote on that.
Nope.
And then Article 25 do we, even though there's no money, do we still vote on it? That's our bylaw.
Nope, we made it, we don't have to vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This just allows us to go to
It should be
5
assumed that we
members.
support it.
Well, the other thing is so that the residents understand, Article 25, because there was no existing bylaw or attributed to the operation or the finance committee, we felt it was necessary, and through the efforts of Robin
Yes,
Vandermeer,
put a lot of time into it.
we felt that a bylaw should be, and to basically codify the finance committee, its operation, its membership, because none of this existed. And to do better management of our community, this is a thing to, like I said, to tighten the, the paperwork here and may have it clear what our responsibilities are, how people are appointed, how many positions there are. This is basically, like I said, clearing up an area where there was nothing existed prior in writing. So again, I want to thank Robin Vandermeer for her time and effort she put into that. And hopefully, like I said, the townspeople will see that this is a benefit to the community.
Rather than put the recommendation on the bottom, that was what we proposed by the finance committee? So they
That would
know
be
that-
Yeah.
Absolutely, if you could add that, that's a good thing. Thank you,
Now,
Andrea.
does the select board need any, to put
They'll
any?
vote, yeah.
They'll vote, okay.
Yeah, we'll vote on it. I think what I'd like to highlight is the fact that you're changing it so that there's 5 members, right? Which is similar to all the other,
Correct.
the select board, et cetera. And that you're also putting in the bylaw that members may not serve simultaneously on other elective town boards or
Right.
committees.
Yes.
Because we want to leave it
Because
open.
that
Someone-
addresses a concern that came up,
Yeah.
I think like a year or two ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it allows for those, like if somebody wants to be on the historic commission, they still can be because it's an appointed, not elected.
Right.
So it still allows people who want to serve on other non-elected boards the opportunity to.
But you can't be select board
No,
and
you
finance
can't
at
be.
the same time, board of
Or
health
plan-
and finance
Or
at the same
planning,
time. et
planning
cetera.
board's
board.
elective, isn't
Planning
it?
board, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. And then Article 26, I take is their article.
That's we have that's not a
And
financial.
27, whatever the resolution.
I have no idea
Well,
what
those are the people that have either no longer working for the town or they run.
Oh, the recognition
okay,
bylaws.
okay.
Okay.
There'll be a big chart.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay, we have next the discussion of town meeting information session. What's that tentatively, April 22nd?
You have a handout that might be helpful in that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Here it is, yep. Wednesday, April 22nd.
Second, okay. Okay, and we're the ones that, the finance committee's in charge of that? Okay.
Yep.
And then the select board will do their will speak to their articles. Okay, so. Anything?
I'm gonna start, now that you have the handout,
Yeah,
I'm gonna make a minor correction for that David pointed out. So that's probably gonna get sent to the printer and mailed out, because it
Okay.
needs to get out soon. As soon as that is done and the warrant is done with your recommendations tonight, but I don't need it, but I'm gonna post the warrant unless there's something on the warrant itself the select board wants to change, you should let me know, because once I mail this flyer out, I wanna
Yeah.
put this warrant on the town meeting website. I'm gonna put the budget book, which we sent to the printer today, and it'll still say draft. We don't have the motion warrant up yet, but I'd like to at least get the warrant out so that people could see the warrant in preparation for the information session. So they'll be able to, when they get the flyer, go on the website, see the warrant, and see the budget book, at the very least. And then we'll have the motion warrant on there after the select board votes everything in there on the 14th.
Yeah.
There'll be a week before there'll be the full thing on but I'll put the draft warrant on it. But anyway, so that's just the flyer, it's exactly like it was last year essentially.
Yep.
Just reinterpreted with new numbers.
and this is strictly questions and answers in regards to the project, so like,
Oh, yeah, I'm
like
gonna
that
start the-
library.
Yeah, I'm gonna start
Yeah.
the PowerPoint, and then I have a couple
Yeah.
members of your esteemed committee who volunteered to handle sections, so I'll be
Okay,
shipping off
okay.
slides and.
And you'll make
we'll
sure the appropriate department heads will,
be all notified.
okay.
Yep.
That'll
So
be-
it might be helpful, because I'm just looking at the total amount, Not for this sheet, but I'm just saying for you guys for the info session, I mean, I'll be there, but I'm looking at what you recommended is actually less than what was requested. So it might be helpful on your info slide at some point to indicate like what is not, things were taken off the table, right? You're not putting money into, I think I made some notes, into other separate individual capital stabilization funds. I think
There was what,
the transfer station platform or something
Yeah.
like that.
They withdrew that.
Yeah.
Again, that
Yeah,
sort of
that's
stuff.
for
yeah,
next
yeah,
year,
yeah.
and also there was a highway department UTV
Yeah.
that you're asking come up on another year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were some changes,
Okay.
and then based on some other line items, the overall increase from last year's budget is 140,377. So even though we're talking about big numbers in the individual articles, it looks, am I correct on this, Andrea? So the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget is 140, a little over 140,000.
Yes. On the funding of it, I mean, on the request.
On the expenses side,
Right.
on the
Going down is the
revenue side,
Yeah.
there's less coming in,
Yeah.
right, across the board. And
But
that's,
part of the less that's coming in is because you're not funding with as much free
Right.
cash, because you had more free cash last year, so you
Yes.
have to.
yeah.
okay, so we're gonna, just saying that out loud, so everybody keep their wits
Okay.
about them when we get to the info session in the town meeting. Okay,
And please, we also encourage, the Finance Committee encourages strongly that the residents attend this informational session, so this way they can be better prepared
Yeah.
if they choose to attend town meeting. This way, a lot of questions can be answered, instead of, I know they're probably gonna be repeated, but again, some people will have their answers beforehand, so that won't be, beating a dead horse, continuously asking about it when we can have an informational session to brief our residents on. And this is part of the transparency of the Finance Committee. We are always open to have people attend our meetings. We like to have them televised, especially in budget season. But we also will have this informational session prior to town meeting. And this is all to the advantage of the residents and taxpayers of Northfield.
Anything else you folks want to do on the information session at this point?
Do we meet again before it?
Do you want to meet next Monday?
We have an open Monday next weekend. Next
Yeah.
Monday, rather.
Next Monday.
We left it open, but I didn't know if, did we
Do
need
you
to
want to?
get
Did you wanna-
prepared a little bit more, or are we good? I don't know.
I see a week from today's Patriots Day, according to
No,
my.
that's 20th.
20th. We're on the
Next week
6th.
is the 13th.
13th.
Look at you, overachiever.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at my budget calendar.
Oh, did you see the new one? Did you see the new one
When did I get it?
today?
No, I've just been scribbling on this one.
You don't have it either?
Okay, so this is the 20th is Patriots Day.
Yeah, we won't be
Yeah.
meeting that
It's
day.
one of those that doesn't
We're
show up on the
also
calendar.
meeting on Friday
Okay.
with the-
I understand.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not going to
Okay.
be
Are you
there.
not gonna be there?
I'm not gonna be there.
For what?
Friday's meeting.
Friday the three
town.
town.
Yeah, we will.
You will?
You gonna go? You gonna go? I'll go.
I'll post
try to
it
make
tomorrow.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
All right.
David and I will.
I don't really see, I think we've completed pretty much all our work that's in
Okay.
front
Does
of us. I don't
anybody-
see,
Did you? No, I did. I mean, did you want like bounce stuff off us and do it that way, kind of?
The editorial thing.
Oh, my thing that I wrote? For the three-town, at that discussion, there was interest in having each town prepare a statement. My understanding was that they were considering putting it in the editorial section of the paper, and also perhaps to present to the voters at town meeting. Let me go find
Is that
it.
the reason for Friday? To discuss that, to go over that?
That's part of it, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So let me, I could just read, I went ahead and drafted something since I sort of,
Did you want to wait until after Friday? Because if you're gonna tweak it with them, it's gonna be, might be something different.
well, I was just gonna read it
Go
to see
ahead.
if anybody
Go
here
ahead.
wants,
Oh.
the people that can't be there, if I covered it the way you feel like it should be covered.
Can we, oh, we're not voting on anything.
No,
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 we're
I
not
was just
voting on
gonna say,
anything.
this is the state,
But-
so if there's,
So if we're, but do we, Does the select board have to be here for this, or can we let them go, or did they want to be here for this? That's something we're deciding.
Wheels on my chair, so I can just.
I mean, Bernie wants to be here.
Wow, I
I
worked
know Bernie
hard.
Well, this,
I worked hard on this, Daniel.
I'm sorry, it's,
And
I'm
I'm
trying.
saying, these guys are,
now
I
you can read it.
understand this to be the Northfield section
Yes,
of the
right. It is.
of the editorial, and so,
So
it
each
would
one-
encompass the select board and
That's true.
the finance
Okay.
committee.
If they're
But
agreeing.
Not
Dorothy
to
would.
harangue
You
you.
want Karen to contribute to it?
It's a very short,
Okay, so,
it's just a short statement.
for it.
I think
summarizing.
this would be appropriate time to
Go for
let Lindsay express it, because if we're not gonna meet, we're just gonna have this meeting on Friday to Three-Town. I think getting it out now, because then it makes a meeting after
'cause then we
the
could just
Three-Town
forward it to
superfluous.
them.
There's no need
yeah,
for it.
sure, yeah,
So
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure about like a separate, to be honest with you, I have my reservations about a separate statement, so I'm not totally
Fuzzy?
comfortable with quote unquote editorials like that.
I agree,
I
yeah.
think that we're stating what we need to stay in our stating what we need to say in our official capacities in our public meetings, right? And you're going to be doing slides at the info session as well. So I'm just kind of questioning the
Rationale, reasoning?
the presentation, shall we say. So I feel more comfortable with if you're making some sort of statement for the finance committee when you get to the info session. I think that's
Or at town meeting, when we
Correct.
say we don't, we
Correct.
voted
Yeah,
to
that's-
support it,
I
and
think
here's
that
why.
makes more sense for,
Is
because
why.
you guys need to have a statement behind that encapsulates what you've been saying at each of the
And that's what
meetings.
this is intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you just read it?
Well, the thing
Go
is, the thing about having, forgive me, just having it done at the informational session and town meeting is that it's still gonna be a small number of residents.
I know.
Over, I think that make use of the media and record this information goes out to a wider audience. We're limiting the amount of residents that we're expressing our opinion to, or our decision-making. If we just keep it to, like I said, the informational session, so we get 30 people, maybe that, and then town meeting, maybe 200 at the most, that's far less than our registered voters in our community who could attend town meeting. I think that we're ignoring those people and not, informing them. So I think personally, I think you should read it, and I think we should. I don't see a reason why not to publicize it. Also,
That's
I think
fine.
it should be in a public.
It's fine, here's
So-
where you guys do it as a FinCom, and then
You guys do it
we
through a
need
job.
to have a separate discussion
Okay.
as a select.
No, well, again, we're not going to speak for the select board. Select
No,
board has
no.
every right to
Okay, I just wanna make sure that's
say whatever
clear.
they.
Yeah.
You
So
have the.
do you want to hear what the finance committee has come up with?
Of course.
Okay,
I just wanna make it clear that to
I'll
me
take
is
your
what
name around
the
for this
Fin, yeah, full circle back, but it's the finance
it
committee.
is finance, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
it would be a different vote and potentially a different statement of some sort. Sorry, Bernie, go ahead. He just wants you to read it, go ahead.
All right, the Northfield Finance Committee has chosen not to recommend the 2027 PVRSD school budget request to their voters. Here is why. Since 2022, PVRSD's total enrollment has decreased by 32%, while the school's funding requirements from Northfield have risen 6%. These trends have caused the cost per student to increase by approximately 32%, or $17,000 in 2022 and $26,000 per student per year this last year. School of choice students, currently 64 of them, bring in less funding than the cost per student, causing an additional net loss. The demographics of Northfield, approximately 2,800, has changed only slightly since 2022. The same people are carrying an ever-increasing funding burden for the town. In addition, the percentage of seniors in Northfield is 26%, many of which are on a fixed income. The PVRSD budget makes up 42% of the total town budget. This means that all other priorities and departments must be funded with only 58% of Northfield funds. The town has large priorities to balance, for example, an antiquated sewer system, new or upgraded EMT and fire services buildings, as well as supporting all other town services. In addition, constantly rising costs create an uncertainty of the accuracy of the budget. There are many efficiencies to be found in the school's 2027 budget submission, which could lower costs to Northfield and the other district towns without compromising the quality of the education the students receive. The trend of declining enrollment and rising costs simply is not sustainable. We must look for a way to work together to solve this. Another solution rather than business and as usual is needed.
Okay.
So
So is that something that we want to vote on?
I can send it to you guys if you want to take shots at it and fix it or change it or anything else. If you want to edit it.
I would change EMT to EMS,
Okay.
technical edit.
No, thank you. This was just a late night. All right.
I would recommend you not circulate it and make edits. I think that would be an open meeting law violation.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay.
All right.
I
Well,
mean, two
no,
or three of you could do it, but not four.
I
Okay,
understand.
okay.
Or you could make suggestions and come back to a meeting and add it to it at that time.
Is it okay for
In the meeting,
people to
you have to
send
make
me
the suggestions in the meeting.
What I would suggest is that they send them all to you, you bring the whole thing back. Do not
Yeah.
disseminate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
So
you'd have to do it that way.
Okay.
Yes, you'd have to do it that way.
Okay.
So, anyway, I thought maybe that was something that they would understand.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me.
All right.
So we're good until April 22nd when we have the forum, or did you want to meet 2 days before the 20th? Not that, you can't meet the 20th, I'm sorry,
It
next
would be,
week.
yeah, it would have to be the,
13th.
yeah.
Okay, so I won't put out a meeting for the 13th.
Well, how do we go through the slideshow? Will we just get to see it and
I think we just
get to see it right under there?
I think last year you just
I mean,
do it.
we're gonna work on it.
Last year I did it, but
Yeah.
I think the two of you were interested in, so I can work with two of you easily.
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
of
you don't need to
more
put up
than-
an
I mean,
notice,
As long as it's not a quorum, I
Okay.
can work with
Only two
members
at a
of the
time.
board.
Yeah.
But does the rest of the committee get to see it beforehand?
Only if you have.
Oh, like a
meeting.
preview, you
When
mean?
it's finished,
When it's finished? Okay.
I'd like to put it on the website before the 22nd.
Oh, that's right.
What's our deadline for getting everything finished? And so they can go, what's your timeline for getting it on the website?
I mean, we can put it on the
Next.
day before, but I think sooner would be nice.
Right.
I
So,
think that we should figure that out.
Gotcha. Message received.
So leave it just to the two
We're
of
here
you?
for you.
Yeah.
We're here for, okay.
I mean, I did it on the fly last year. I had no preview, so.
Good job.
Thanks.
okay.
One of
Okay.
the takeaway, just as a note, not to peel that back, but one of the things that I heard in our 3-town meeting that seemed really valuable to town residents was being able to relate the impact of each of these items to the tax rate and how it will could impact your bill. And I was thinking, what if we had just like a model generic house that
That's
was
something, yeah, that's
amazing.
something that was proposed at the previous meeting for FinCom, and I said I would work on that, so we'd have it for the town meeting.
amazing? 3 steps ahead.
It wasn't
Appreciate
my
it.
idea, but I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah.
If you look at the bottom of your budget summary sheet, increasing the expenditures by 50,000 is 7 cents, increasing by 80 is 12, increasing by 100
Yeah.
is 14. So
Yeah.
there's a quick, so if you have
Message
something
there.
that's 50,000, it will be 7
Yeah.
cents. It's not exact, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah, but it would be interesting to be able to say, if we say yes to everything, this is
Yep.
this is what it would look like for a $400,000 house.
Yeah, so you just pick a.
Yeah, take the median value of house of the house and top of the average.
What is the value of the average house here?
I,
It's
I was-
like 277.
I was gonna go with
It
350.
was 277, somewhere around there.
The assessors would know that.
Yes.
Yeah, they, in the past year or two, it was like around 277. When we were
Okay.
doing, I think it was 2 years ago when we were talking about the buildings and things, we used a 277 figure, so it's probably higher.
It's probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So we just go with an
I'll
easy
ask Beth.
number, make it 300.
I think make it
Don't
300.
overcomplicate- don't overcomplicate
That's
I
a
know in a
reasonable
lot of
figure.
towns, like in Shrewsbury, they'll tend to use 300, 254, and, or you can, 450, something like that, so you can
Right.
see the impact close
Yeah.
to your house. Yeah,
He's not expecting a huge increase in values this year though,
okay.
but, he did it on AI, so I'll check with Beth and get that.
Zillow says the same.
Yeah, about 356 he's seeing.
Okay.
356,
That's what he's saying is the average, but.
$75,000 higher than 277.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have a
Well,
1,200
can they
little
do-
square foot house.
They just did valuations.
That's the
They're
median
doing the
value,
5-year
right?
reval now, so she's already starting to see the numbers that are approved.
Mhm.
They're at, with DOR. She said she's not seeing huge jumps
Yeah.
like we've seen.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
We seem to have
I'll have less
a
on that
fairly low
part too.
amount, so.
Yeah, I haven't
guess
seen as
Not true of
many.
every house, if you did something big, your house is gonna go up,
Yeah,
but the average, I think, but I'll talk to the assessors.
I haven't seen as many sale signs around.
No, there's not much for that,
Yeah.
or new construction.
Well, I think, also too, rates, interest rates are up there again, mortgage rates.
Yeah, mortgage rates are up.
Okay. Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
You also have citizen concerns.
Yeah, citizen concerns? Yeah.
Anybody want to speak?
Citizens? Okay.
Okay. There's nothing anticipated 48 hours, and I checked my mailbox, and I didn't see anything in there, and so are we ready to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I, Bernie Prada, make a motion that the finance committee adjourn.
Second by Dan Campbell.
Gail Weiss, yay?
Bernie Prada, yay.
Dan Campbell, yes.
Morgan O'Brien, yes.
Lindsay McCarthy, yes.
Robin Vanderman, yes.
And we adjourn at 7, the FinCom adjourns at 7:40.
Okay, and motion to adjourn from David McCarthy,
Second.
second from Bernie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so we're closing our meeting at 7:39. I'm looking at my iPhone.
Oh, well.
That's under 2 minutes.
I thought I
2 minutes
fixed that.
behind. Yeah.